6 o'clock, I'll call the November 13th, 2025 Charter Township of Long Lake Board of Trustees regular meeting to order. You can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Heidi.
Shaw,
Here.
Wheeler,
Here.
Balderack,
Here.
Wagner,
Here.
Robinson,
Here.
Seaver, and Levenpool are absent and excused.
The next is public comment. Heidi, can you read our rules?
Any person shall be permitted to address this meeting of the Board of Trustees, which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act as amended. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following. Any person wishing to address the board shall state their name and address. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same manner, excluding the time needed to answer trustees' questions. The chairperson shall control the time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may extend the amount of time each person is allowed to speak. If a group wishes to address the board, the chairperson may require the group to designate a spokesperson. The town board does not respond to comments other than questions by the trustees or to make a necessary clarification. Silence or non-response from the board should not be interpreted as disinterested or disagreement by the board.
Thanks. Public comment?
Chris Crew, 3016 Collier Road.
Do you want to turn the mic on right there? Son?
Is it on? There we go.
Okay.
Chris Crew, 3016 Collier Road. I don't know if anybody's been following Facebook today over in Long Lake. My neighbor Sue was out walking her dog yesterday in Bullhead Lake, and her dog, she was on a leash, not far in front of her. Her dog found something and ate it. As it turned out last night at the Animal Emergency Hospital, it was THC. It was discarded in the park randomly. Chances are, I don't know if you're aware, THC is like lethal to dogs, so it almost died yesterday. We've had incidents in Bullhead last year where we had homeless person camping in Bullhead that was rousted by the sheriff's office. And we've had people that have been wandering around, kind of trespassing around the area. I don't know, Bullhead's kind of a ignored little park because it's small and it's neighborhood type thing. But if there's nothing on any signs that say, don't smoke, no fire, no anything, it might be helpful to have something so that people who do enter at least are warned that they shouldn't be doing it. Maybe they don't know, but generally if there's somebody leaving roaches and things on the ground, that's also meaning that they're starting fires and having lit stuff. And there's no way that there'd ever be anybody who could stop a forest fire in that place. My former neighbor, did find one at one point in time and was able to put it out and extinguish it, but it wasn't anything that had been smoldering for a while. So we need to do something, be a little bit more mindful about our parks so nobody gets hurt, whether it's kids or dogs or other animals or people.
Thanks, Chris. We'll pass that on.
She has called the sheriff's office. So.
Anyone else?
My name is Holly Harvey. I live at 6147 London Drive. And I came last month to discuss the issues in our subdivision. We've been told multiple times that there is no ordinance regarding the issue with our neighbor, but that's simply untrue. I have looked through the ordinances, the zoning ordinances. Our subdivision is zoned for single-family home dwelling, which I brought up last month. And the zoning ordinance defines family as one or more individuals related by blood, marriage, or adoption, together with foster children, servants of the principal occupants, with not more than 3 additional unrelated persons living together as a single nonprofit housekeeping unit, or individuals domiciled together in one dwelling whose relationship is of a continuing non-transient domestic character, and who are cooking and living as a single nonprofit housekeeping unit, and it goes on. They were already in violation of that ordinance by having up to 14 people at one time. The 3 brothers who lived there, obviously brothers related, so that means up to 14 people. They had 3 more? So they had 11 more people than the family, but they're allowed up to, I believe, 3 unrelated persons. So they had way more people living there than they should have. And then furthermore, we were told that tents, there's nothing saying that people cannot have essentially a homeless encampment in their yard. But that is also not true. Dwelling is defined as a building or portion thereof that is used exclusively or primarily for human habitation, which provides complete living facilities, including permanent provisions for sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. Tents do not do that. Buckets for human waste outside the tents do not do that. Shower tents outside the house do not do that. And then furthermore, there's a nuisance in section 20.8. Any land, dwellings, buildings, or structures, including tents or recreational vehicles used, erected, altered, raised, or converted in violation of this ordinance, or in violation of any regulations, conditions, permits, or other rights granted, adopted, or issued pursuant to this ordinance, are hereby declared to be a nuisance per se. And that goes on as well. So that completely applies to our situation. And I'm very, I guess, baffled by the fact that the zoning ordinance person who was previously there, I realize we have a new person now, never did anything about it. And really, Deputy McGarrian has done an amazing job and has done everything he can on the law enforcement side, but why, with all of these zoning ordinance violations, was nothing done to give him a little more teeth? I find that to be absolutely baffling, especially since this is such a safety and health hazard. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight?
Good evening. Judith Danford, 1139 Northwest Silver Lake Road. I am a Garfield Township resident, but I reside in Old English Village, the reference that Holly was talking about. What she has stated is an accurate statement. There is a house in Garfield side too also that has questionable behaviors and activities going on. However, the situation that Holly referred to and spoke of is very disturbing. When you have tents, I mean, this is a walking community, young children, a whole series of things. When you have tents in the yard where people are actually living and doing exactly as Holly specified, it's very disturbing. It's upsetting to the younger children. And because we do not know the people who are there, I was told by one of the boys, the young men, they're not boys, he's in his 50s, there have been 4 deaths in this house in the last year. Not any of the 3, but people from the outside, the homeless that are being invited in, etc. And so it is a situation, and the hope is, as difficult as it is to find ordinances and have the backing of them, these are people who have lived in the community for a long time. However, something really needs to be addressed because it sets a precedence, as we all know, for other areas in other times and in other places. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I did want to mention, it looks like there's students here. When the meeting's over, if you have your papers you need us to sign, just come right up after the meeting's adjourned and we can do that. Okay, on to the consent calendar, Heidi.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be approved by one motion. Any member of the board may ask if any item on this consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion.
Yep, please.
Sorry. The consent calendar tonight consists of the Township Board meeting minutes of October 14th, 2025, the Treasurer's report from September 25, the Planner's report October 25, the zoning permit list October 25, the zoning report from October of 25, the Enforcement Officer report from October of 25, the Parks Department report October 25, the check register, October 25, the Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Report, October 25, the Grand Traverse County Road Commission minutes from October of 25, and Charter Communications correspondence.
Thank you. Unless somebody has something they want to pull off there, we can have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Wheelock, support by Wagner to approve the consent calendar. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent calendar is approved. On to the agenda. I don't have anything to add to it. If you're in agreement, you can make a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Wagner, second by Schab to approve the agenda as written. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Whoops. On to conflict of interest. Any conflict? None? Okay, special reports. Penny's up first.
Hello. So I apologize. I'm going to have to jet right after my report. So if you have any questions for me at all, now is your chance. Otherwise, first of all, I want to just say congratulations to the board for your award-winning work out at Twin Lakes Park. I drove by there today just to take a look, and it does look spectacular out there. The paint job is wonderful. And, you know, I know there was not at all any controversy surrounding the acquiring of Twin Lakes Park. But you guys have done such an amazing job, and I say that as a former business owner out there at the park, that just the work that you've done in the last couple of years has been phenomenal, and I appreciate it. Okay, so mainly we have a lot of housekeeping stuff going on at the Board of Commissioners. So one of the things that we've been working on is the Alpha Project. We did finally make the decision. We had a decision between either pursuing a green roof or pursuing solar. So we were exploring those, and we finally just said, well, you can either have one or the other, so figure it out. And we made the motion to axe the green roof going forward. So now on to solar. We'll figure that one out. The other big item that we've been batting around has been, of course, the airport. One of the things I've realized is there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of misunderstanding surrounding what's going on at the airport. Number one, the airport is going to expand with or without the Board of Commissioners. So we have no say in that. Their expansion will not go beyond the borders that they already have. It's not going to be getting bigger. They have already a place already within their confines that they will be building a new terminal. The reason that they need the new terminal is because, quite honestly, there are times, at peak times, when they have more people in the building than the fire code approves of. And wait, this is being recorded. Okay. And it's a concern. It's a safety concern, and they don't have enough gates, so there's a lot of times when there are planes just kind of hanging out and passengers can't deplane because there aren't enough gates. So this is something that has been needed. They cannot, according to the FAA, expand projecting future growth. They can only expand to what they need right now. And so they need this right now. The reason that it comes to the Board of Commissioners is that we have a AAA plus rating, and they can save something like $16 million by bonding using our rating. So if we don't do this, it's going to be passed on to the vendors. That $16 million, they get to pay that difference. It'll be passed on to the airlines, which will then be passed on to passengers. And if you haven't been reading up on it, at least half of our people going through the airport at this time are local people. No longer people driving to Grand Rapids and Detroit. They're flying right out of Traverse City. And so these are our neighbors that we're passing this cost along to. So there's also no plans to be cutting down a bunch of trees. That is not on the plans at this time. So we're not expanding, we're not cutting down trees. We're just building a new terminal within the confines. So anybody have any questions? Did I cover everything?
Are they planning on more parking area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think there's at least another 1,000 or so per day before they can consider building a parking deck, because that in itself is I think he said $30 million to build a parking deck, right? And they would welcome people having off-site parking and running that sort of business. So, and I think it brings in $1 billion into the economy every year. So, I mean, it's definitely a community asset. All right, anybody have any other questions? Comments, smart remarks? No? Okay, fantastic.
Yep,
Thanks,
thank you.
Patty.
Chief?
Good evening, all.
Hello.
So obviously the first thing for ours tonight, the big flyers up, Santa Claus is coming to visit, Sunday, November 30th, from 11 to 2. Please bring your family, stop by, see Santa Claus, see the emergency services folks, and grab some goodies. We interviewed a very good prospect for our open firefighter paramedic position. We're waiting to see what housing solutions they might have. I was just reappointed to the county's 911 technical subcommittee, so I sit on the 911 board. I'm now the board / firefighter or fire department representative on the tech committee. It's where we're trying to get the radios and pagers and stuff like that, all the dispatching software. We have some obstacles in front of us that this stuff is aging out, and trying to come up with some resolutions on how to get the new radios in the future. Our current stuff is 11 years old, and obviously before we secure funding, it's going to take a few more years. So we're working on that. Obviously Halloween was just not too long ago, so ambulance was out handing out candy. We had great success with that. What do we got here? Staff attended an all-day training session at the Regional Training Center over in Blair. We had kept up our numbers for the month, 80 calls again for the month of October. So we're keeping our stellar. We'll probably be over 800 calls. So, so that's what our current mission is lots of calls. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
It looks like Sean isn't here tonight. Okay. Sean's report was in the packet, and he's not here tonight. There's no pending business. Go on to new business. Cody's here to talk a little bit about the success of the farmers market pilot program.
Good evening. So we finished up the farmers market pilot project from the summer. If you'll remember, this spring you guys were gracious enough to give us an opportunity to do kind of a proof of concept for the farmers market. Hopefully you've had a chance to read over the memo I put together with some of the hard numbers and then as well as the anecdotal information. But just to run over it real quick, we did 18 dates this year from June to October 2nd. We did it right here at Haywood in the Bocce Ball parking lot. We learned a lot of things over the course of the summer, things that we feel we could do better, things that we did well. But as a summary here, we had 23 vendors who were accepted to be a part of the farmers market. On average, over the course of the summer, we had 9 folks a week for vendor spaces. Attendance by public was varying depending on weather or Cherry Fest week, those types of things. It was very hard to pin down what was going to bring folks in and what was going to keep them at the beach or on the trail. So with that, we also had a estimated budget and realized budget from our vendors fee collected. Just a reminder, we charge vendors $10 a week, which netted us $1,620, and we spent fairly lean. We spent one on a registration for the Michigan Association of Farmers Markets so we could get our name out there. Some hard items like signs and zip ties, those types of things to get the word out. And then we also started to compile list of community folks who were participating, so we did a raffle a couple weeks to try to get some emails and names and those types of things. And then what we did with the remaining balance was contribute that to any employee time or printer paper, or those types of things that we use from the township office. So that was our budget for the summer. Anecdotally, I feel the market went very well. I would like to take a second and just thank the 5 members of the Farm Market Committee that put some effort in this summer to get that up and running. It really is a good community outreach event. We had lots of great conversation, especially from the planning and zoning departments, where folks just didn't feel like they could come in and talk to us, but if we're out manning a tent there, we had lots of questions where it was just a lot more approachable to come in and chit-chat with us. We were also able to provide opportunities. I'm thinking specifically about a few young women who are starting out businesses and they don't have a brick and mortar location. And so it was much easier for them to do all their baking and cooking and product producing things at home or in the kitchen and then bring it here for $10 a week. They're able to look at their name out there, those types of things. And they're all township residents, which I thought was great. On top of that, we had some established business owners that kind of continued to promote their products that are made in the township. But we also had it open to anybody outside. So we had a few members of the community from a nearby neighboring community that was great to have them participate. The last thing I'll say as far as efforts go, the Farm Market Committee put together flyers, which we put up at local places of business. We sent out a press release to just about every news agency you could think of. Some picked it up, some didn't. And then we had a live interview with Vic McCarty from News Talk 580, which was went really well, and we actually had people stop by that day who had listened to Vic on their way into work or away in to get groceries and stop by on the way out. So it was really nice to kind of start building those bridges here for the future. Because tonight the Farm Market Committee, the 5 of us, are recommending to the Township Board to adopt a resolution to continue the farm market moving forward. I think the proof of concept is something that was shown this year. There's definitely things that could be executed at a higher level, and there's some things that I think we can continue to execute the way we have. So our recommendations for the years moving forward is, number 1, to continue the farm market project. Number 2 is to allow resident/vendor participation on the farm market committee. Right now, it is 4 members of staff and 1 trustee. Our meetings were fairly infrequent, but that still takes up some of our time. So getting input from the community and our residents is one of our recommendations for you. And then thirdly, we would like to revisit our farm market guidelines as we've learned some new things moving forward that might benefit us here moving forward. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know a few of you were able to come out and see what it looked like on a day or two. So if you guys have any criticisms or suggestions, we're open to that as well. But that is our report here for you.
Cody, what about expansion? I mean, do you think you'll get big enough that we'll have to add more space somewhere?
If we are permitted to continue, the idea that the Farm Market Committee is kind of spitballed is the whole goal for us starting this was to create a community event for people to come. I guess this is speaking from my personal opinion, as I don't want to speak for the other 4, but at some point, if we get too big, it no longer becomes a community event. So if we're at a point where we have 50 vendors and we're shoving everybody in, it's not quite exactly what we're looking for. The hypothetical limit that we've talked about before is the bocce ball court kind of has a south arm and a west arm. If we filled both of those arms, we could fill it with 30 to maybe 40 vendors, depending on how packed we filled it, or how tightly we spaced folks. So I think that would probably be our realistic limit. We don't have the space like a Sarah Hardy or an Interlochen does, where they have a kind of a sprawling parking lot. So we'd have to kind of weigh the vendor acceptance at that point. We do give priority to folks that live in the township, but anybody who produces or grows the product is eligible to be considered. So we had, I think, out of the 23, I think only a few came from outside of the township. But I guess to get back to answer your question, there is a hard limit. At some point, we're just not able to contain it, or we're going to have to delegate that task to some sort of outside help, because we won't be able to sustain that.
Okay, good. And I think one of our biggest hurdles was getting produce.
Oh, yeah.
Produce is difficult.
Produce is, we're still trying to grow, actually grow that. We're trying to get more producers of produce here. And I don't know really what the answer is to that. More word of mouth maybe, or...
We did kind of handcuff ourselves a little bit. I think when we talked about this originally in front of you folks, it was maybe March or April when we started discussing it, with an opening day of June 5th. So we put a lot of work up front to get it up off the ground. And what we found with some of our vendors is some folks have already committed to other markets, regardless if it's on the same day or not. So the only other competing day we found was Interlochen has an afternoon market on Thursdays we weren't aware of until we started. But even folks like that do Kingsley or Sarah Hardy, they don't have the staff to man their place of business if they have a brick and mortar and go to 4 different markets for the day. So we did do a post survey to all of our vendors for things we could approve if we're going to continue, and asked them if they'd like to come back. And all the responses we got back, there's interest for those vendors to come back. So we haven't had one vendor yet tell us that we haven't. And actually, one of the things that we've gotten great kudos on is just the atmosphere that we're building. It is very community-based. It's not transactional. We could charge them a lot more to be a vendor here, but that's not the point. That wasn't our original goal. So we're hoping to continue that here in the next summer.
So moving on, looking at the resolution that Cody was speaking of, on the back there is, the original meeting date was on there, and it should be switched to the 13th, the Thursday. Other than that, we can...
I will make a motion to adopt resolution 11-25-19 with the one edit in the first paragraph, correcting the date of today's meeting to the 11th day of November, or the 13th day of November from the 11th day as published.
Support.
A motion by Wagner, support by Kendra to adopt the resolution with the one correction. And we will need a roll call for this, Heidi.
Yes.
Balderack,
Yes.
Wheelock,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
and Robinson.
Yes. Resolution, well, anyone opposed? I guess not, and 2 people absent, so the resolution has passed. Okay, on to our second resolution, and this was for, if I can find it here. Is for our new employee, Greg Horncall, and we have to give him the authorization to give out tickets and to be the ordinance enforcement officer. We are going to keep Ken also authorized till the end of the year, because he's teaching Greg till the end of the year, and then Ken will move into the assessor's office. So there will be a little overlap, but this is just to allow Greg to do his new job.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 11-25-20.
I'll support.
Motion by Wagner, support by Dwayne to pass Resolution 11-25-20. We do need a roll call for that.
Wheelock,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Balderack,
Yes.
Schaub,
Yes.
and Robinson.
Yes. Resolution is approved. The last thing on new business is the application for a board of review member. We had a longtime board of review member, had been on for 30 years, 40 years. Anyway, she is finally retired, and so Ron is recommending Nathan Miller, lives obviously in the township, to be our new board of review member. And I think we just need a motion accepting Ron's recommendation.
I'll make a motion, we accept supervisor's recommendation for Nathan Miller for Board of Review.
I'll support that.
Motion by Dwayne, support by Wagner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? He is appointed. We have a second public comment, if anyone would like to get up and speak.
Judith Danford, 1139 Northwest Silver Lake Road. Just an FYI for everyone, especially the students sitting here, the ticker, which is the Traverse City Free Paper Online, had an excellent article on the airport today. Explains it thoroughly, so for anyone who might be interested.
Okay, there's no budget status tonight. Any Board of Trustee comments?
Yes, please. So I feel like I'm the only one that ever has comments, so sorry, guys. So you all know that I'm also a resident of the neighborhood that we're talking about, and I just want to clarify, Judith had mentioned another resident that we had some issues with, but of the, what do we have, 150 homes in there, there really is one resident that we have issues with. Am I kind of correct there, right? I mean, we're all focusing in on that one home. So we had a meeting on Monday night. It was down at Gilbert Lodge, and there were, I counted 40 residents there, some Long Lake Township, some Garfield, and I was pleasantly surprised to see so many interested. It is a great subdivision, and we all are concerned about safety, and we talked a lot. Ron and Sean, Greg, Penny, and myself were there from the township, so that was good to, you know, I tried to explain things and I don't have the words, and Ron does. You know, I'm just not really sure how it all goes, but Sean McGarrian was very forthcoming in things that have gone on there and what has been taken care of and what we need to work on to make it better. And so we know that there are ordinances that we need to revisit and make stronger. Sean's message was, if you see it, say it, report it, report, because if they don't know what's going on, there's nothing that they can do. So as much as we would love to be this friendly neighborhood and help them mow their lawn and pick up their junk, they don't want you on their property. So I guess they have that right. So is it an eyesore? Is it a nuisance? Absolutely. It has been for quite a while. So we kind of left the meeting with, I think we were 2 hours. Am I right, Holly? It seemed like it was about 2 hours. And we left that meeting with lots of promises to come back and convene again after some things have taken place and some issues have been looked into and to see what we can do. So bottom line, a bit of it is that the township doesn't have a ton of authority except for the ordinances. And then to enforce that, like Ron had said, it takes a long time and many, many visits. So we'll be diligent and we'll get things taken care of at that residence so that it's safe and kids aren't afraid and that sort of thing. So that was great to see so many people there and interested. So thank you all, and the staff's all gone. I was there. Anyway, just a thank you to the staff for coming and being concerned for us. So.
I have two things tonight. One is that we're having a special meeting on the 19th at 8 o'clock. I think y'all had, I think Ron sent an email. And I think that's mostly budget.
I did, yeah, I am aware of that. I did
Okay.
talk to him about that, yeah.
Yep. So 19th at 8 o'clock. And then the last thing I have is that most of us were at the MTA meeting on Thursday at Boone's, but it was very fun to, Matt Jerome wasn't there, but we videotaped it and sent it to him. He got an award for excellence, certificate of excellence, yeah. Just for, he's such a team player, and he is so good at his job and so good with the public. And that was kind of a highlight of the night for me. And then the township also received the placemaking award for everything that's been done at Twin Lakes. Yeah. And so it was a very nice evening, and felt good to have people recognized from this township.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I do have one thing
Okay,
I wanted to mention. Since I took over for Kevin as the liaison to the Planning Commission in September, the Planning Commission voted, it was a split vote, quite frankly, to move forward with a proposed accessory dwelling unit, a pretty sweeping change to our zoning ordinance. It's raised a lot of concerns with me, but that's going to be coming to the board at some point in the future, maybe next month or maybe even the month after. I would strongly encourage you folks to maybe dip your head into that when you have some time, maybe even go back and watch some of these past Planning Commission meetings. It's a pretty sweeping change that we think we're having problems right now with short-term rentals and some of these odd issues like we're hearing about tonight with, these illegal camping situations. Buckle up. So, yeah.
Okay.
Good. And what I've kind of heard from Ron is he wants to get through the budget first, and then we'll put that on the agenda. Okay, we can adjourn at 6:38.
Do you need a motion to adjourn?
No, I don't think so.
I can't.
Well, actually, they're going to bring the two boys home. So she set up a ride, so I